Are you ready to get spicy?
These Doritos Golden Sriracha aren't that spicy.
Maybe it's time to turn up the heat.
Or turn it down. It's time for something that's not too spicy. Try Doritos Golden Sriracha.
Spicy.
But not too spicy.
Ah, DSW, birthplace of the humble brag. Here, the shoes are so good, no one would ever know how little you paid. If you didn't go telling everyone, that is. And with never-ending options for every style, mood, and occasion, all at really great prices, we'll definitely give you something to brag about. So go ahead, stock up on fresh sneakers from your favorite brands. Or try those boots you always secretly knew you could pull off. Find the shoes that get you at prices that get your budget at DSW stores or DSW.com.
It's time for the best coverage of the top stories in sports. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page starts now.
And great to have you with us on this Thursday edition of the show. We got a lot to do over the next 60 minutes. David Aardsma swings by in about 20 because I just can't quit him. Our former MLB reliever and closer. Get some thoughts with him on award season. Whole bunch of other news around baseball that I want to chat about with David Aardsma. That's coming up in about 20 minutes. A huge night in basketball last night. Both women on the college basketball side and men in the NBA. We've got a bunch of performances you have to see to believe. That's coming up a little later on in the program. A Thursday night NFL game to preview in odds and ends. But we start things out in the NFL. And there's Sam Yarnell hanging out with us, as he does just about every day on the show. And Sam, the games that matter most, we're getting into that part of the year now where you could really start keying in on certain games in the slate. That look, there's some that are, sort of throwaways that you don't have to care. Washington and Miami. Well, if you're watching that, you're a diehard. There's several of those types of games on the schedule every week. But there are a lot of games this week in particular where it feels like there's something at stake. So I want to help people weed through a little bit. Since you're not going to be with us tomorrow, I wanted to weed through some of this. I would have typically done this on a Friday and get your thoughts. And I'm going to throw one out to start things out in the conversation that I don't know if it'd be as high on people's radars as it should be. It is a divisional matchup, so for that reason, people are going to be obviously interested in it. But Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, to me, that's one that's got my attention. Even though we don't think either of those teams is going to win the division, in all likelihood, there's a lot of interest for me in this game because you have Cincinnati with the news that Joe Burrow could be back a lot sooner than a lot of us anticipated. Pittsburgh coming off a terrible performance offensively. Aaron Rodgers speaking out about the receiving core. And an AFC North that still, for all intents and purposes, despite what the odds makers might say, feels like it's up for grabs. I like Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. It's one I'm going to be keeping a really close eye on this weekend.
Yeah, so the three games that really stand out to me, Jason, obviously it starts in the 4 o'clock window with Seahawks-Rams. This is a game that is going to play into who wins the NFC West. And obviously, when you look at where these teams are projected to finish win total-wise, these are two teams that the sportsbook obviously expects to make the playoffs, and they're not really sure who's going to win more games out of these two teams. I think both win totals are posted at 12.5. So, the Seahawks and Rams is the first one, and then obviously followed up in the same 25 minutes later with Chiefs Broncos. I've talked about this game for weeks on the show at this point. This is a must win for the Chiefs. It's as simple as that. They're coming off of a bye. They're on the road in Denver, favored by more than a field goal. This is a must win game for the Chiefs if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive this season, let alone their hopes at winning the AFC West. Hands down, you cannot drop to 500 11 weeks through the season and still think about making the playoffs if you're the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm sorry, it's a reality of the NFL. I don't think anyone will disagree with me on that. And the final one, obviously, Sunday Night Football for the NFC 1 seed. This game is going to have implications when we're looking back on it come January. It's Lions and Eagles in Philadelphia. This atmosphere is going to be crazy. Late night at the Link. I can't wait for this weekend, Jason. 3 absolute bangers lined up by the NFL.
Yeah, and look, I'll throw in another one on my side. I'll go Chicago, Minnesota. We're still kind of figuring out what J.J. McCarthy is. Caleb Williams is showing more and more signs this Chicago Bears team has sort of scuffled through the season, but scuffled to a 6-3 record. I mean, again, I don't know how many people, I don't know if a lot of people had expectations or necessarily knew what this Chicago Bears team would be through 10 weeks, but I think any Bears fan would have signed up for 6-3 through the first 10 weeks of the season. I'll give you another one. And it has nothing to do with the Giants, even though Jameis Winston is starting, which means we're always guaranteed to get something entertaining out of that game. We want to go, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 1 return for a pick 6, something like that. If we're talking about Jameis Winston with the Giants, that we'll be talking about on Monday. And certainly some good vibes, no matter how it turns out from Jameis Winston. But Green Bay, coming off that offensive performance against the Eagles, and, a Giants defense that, while it's, sort of had its moments throughout the season, is certainly a tough one on the road. I'm interested to see how this, and not just whether the Packers win or lose. I think the line on that game is 7.5, by the way. And right now I'd take the Giants plus 7.5 if that number is still, in that spot. But how does Jordan Love and this team respond? There's been a lot of criticism coming out of that Monday night game against the Eagles. How does that team respond? Again, in a jam-packed division where Minnesota at 4-5 are the dregs of that division. How does Green Bay respond coming out of that game? That's one that I want to watch, Sam.
Yeah, we finally get to see Jameis Winston, something I've been begging this franchise for since week 1 of the NFL season.
You could see Russell, by the way, you could see Russell Wilson on Cameo.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah, he's doing cameo videos right now.
That's hilarious.
Yes.
I can't believe it took us 11 weeks of the NFL season to get to this point. It really is a disservice to you and I, the football fan, that we had to wait this long to watch Jameis Winston play football this NFL season. But we're in for a treat. I can't wait. I know people might, poo-poo this game. I'll be locked onto this game in the 1 o'clock window. Jameis might throw 6 interceptions. He might throw 6 touchdowns. He might do both in the same game. That would be a first, I would have to imagine, in NFL history. But yeah, I can't wait. I am a huge Jameis Winston lover, and this game is going to be a lot of fun. I will have a pick from this game in Page versus the Prince.
I'll also say this, by the way. As much as everybody's just assuming Baltimore is going to win that AFC North, you talk about Kansas City, and and we've talked about it. The fact that there's really not a lot of wiggle room now, not even necessarily because of them, but because of the teams ahead of them. There's an argument to be made that Baltimore, while they're playing a 2-7 Cleveland team, and while everybody's assuming Baltimore is going to win the AFC North, there's no wiggle room really for them either at 4-5. They really can't afford to just give away games like this one on the road. And a road game in the division, I wouldn't take anything for granted if I were a Ravens fan that everything's fixed and everything's fine. I mean, they have looked better. The defenses look better. All of that's great. But, if I'm a Ravens fan, I'm still nervous, cautiously optimistic. If I'm a Ravens fan. All right, stick around. We've got Contender Pretender Week 11 NFL edition with a game coming up tonight to get to. A whole bunch more. David Aardsma later in the show to talk baseball. Don't go anywhere. Lots to do on this Thursday Sports Wrap. We take it to segment 2 on this Thursday edition of the show. In 10 minutes, my man David Aardsma swings by. Thoughts with the former big league reliever and closer. Got a big Friday show lined up for you. Robert Lital in his usual spot, talking about the top stories of the week. Nick Ferguson, former NFL safety, will be here. Talk about everything going on in football. And Dom Amore of the Hartford Courant covers the UConn Huskies men's basketball program. We'll get him on to talk about the top 5 ranked Huskies and his new book, which is a book he did with Jim Calhoun going through his career in his life. Look forward to talking with him about that on tomorrow's show. Sam Yarnell, Week 11 in the NFL kicks off on Thursday night with the Patriots and the Jets. While that is certainly of some interest to some, What is more interesting to me is to kind of drill down into the AFC and NFC playoff picture. A little something we do on the show every week. It's called Contender Pretender. One contender, one pretender from each of us. And as I said, we get deeper into this season. I think it's becoming a little easier to figure out who some of these are. So I will defer to you for Contender Pretender. Give me yours.
Well, I do think this is tough because to come up with something, interesting here. Because, like we talked about earlier this week, I think that we're not that far. We kind of have a good picture of how the playoffs are going to shake out, right? In the NFC, it's generally going to be exactly what you have now. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if it was exactly what you have right now in the NFC. In the AFC, yeah, Jacksonville will probably fall out of it. Kansas City will probably jump into it. Pittsburgh will probably lose their division, and Baltimore will probably win theirs. But outside of that, I don't think that there's any massive surprise coming. So for that reason, my contender has to be the Baltimore Ravens to win the AFC North. They are 1,000% divisional contenders. I don't really think that I need to explain myself. So maybe I'll go a step further and get even crazier on the show, the agent of chaos that I am. The Cincinnati Bengals are contenders to win the AFC North. Bet you didn't think you saw that one coming. Well, here's the thing. The Cincinnati Bengals have yet to lose an AFC North game this season. Despite their ugly record, they're undefeated in division, 2-0. They've got a divisional game this week. If they can luck box their way into a win over a reeling and down Steelers team, this is a team that could absolutely run the table somehow if they get Joe Burrow back by Thanksgiving and everything else falls exactly in their way. This is a team that could somehow luck box their way in to an AFC North championship. So the Baltimore Ravens are real contenders to win that division, but I'll throw in the Bengals as my backup contender to win that division. Pretender, take your pick. This week we'll go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, they're absolutely pretenders. I mean, this team absolutely, since day one, everyone's been
division leaders.
And hollering, hey, they're spending leaders. So much money. They're giving out all these contracts. Yeah, well, it turns out all those contracts they gave out were to 35-year-olds who are a step late in their careers. So that defense isn't what it used to be. And Aaron Rodgers, well, he's not 35 anymore. He's 42 now, and it's starting to show week 11 of the season. AFC North contenders, Ravens and Bengals. AFC North pretender, Steelers. The Browns are forgotten.
We're talking about a division leader as a pretender. It is. I mean, you just have to. You have to breathe that in a little bit, and there's a lot of projecting in terms of what we assume is going to happen in that division. And you know what they say happens when you assume. Just saying. I'm not. By the way, I'm not saying I disagree or that I think you might not wind up being validated or vindicated in what you're saying. I'm just saying it's pretty wild that we're going into week 11 when trend lines have sort of been what they are, when resumes have been established, you kind of know who you are. That we're still saying the Steelers, not only are they not winning the division, they're not even making the playoffs at this point. It is pretty wild.
But you just said that with regard to the resume thing, right? So in terms of the AFC North, their resume is virtually nothing. They've played 2 games. They still have 4 divisional games in front of them. I
don't disagree with any of this.
Which is why I'm just saying that I don't think their record really indicates how good they are in their division.
Fair enough. I'm going to start with a pretender, and I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers. Who, despite the fact that they're knocking on the door here, that loss against Houston with Davis Mills as the starting quarterback was the one that was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. And their schedule coming down the stretch here is not easy. They're at the Falcons this week, at the Niners after that. Then they got the Rams. Saints is a layup. They finish with Buccaneers, Seahawks, Buccaneers. Good luck with that. Their season's done. As much as, we'd like to talk about the fact this team is better, and they are certainly going in the right direction, they are not a contender to make the playoffs this year. For my contender, and I thought long and hard about this, and I have vacillated a bit on it. I'm going to stick with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I know to some that might mean that I'm eliminating the Kansas City Chiefs, but the fact of the matter is Kansas City can still win their division. Kansas City still has a route to win their division with 2 matchups against the Broncos, one of them being this week, and another matchup against the Chargers. Still, going into week 11, despite the fact that Sam Yarnell doesn't think so, the Kansas City Chiefs still control their own destiny. Again, they're going to have to play really well, and they can't afford to have any hiccups, especially in some of these divisional matchups. But Kansas City can still win their division. Jacksonville has no shot at winning their division. And right now, their trend line is going in the wrong direction, especially with what we saw last week for them. So I will go with the Carolina Panthers as my pretender and Jacksonville as a contender to still potentially make the playoffs, because Kansas City could wind up winning that division. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
The way, just to be clear, the way that Kansas City has to win that division is win out. They cannot lose another game, and they have to hope. Well, they have to then beat the Broncos twice and hope that they don't play the Broncos twice. I'm sorry. Yeah, they do. They have to beat the Broncos twice and hope that the Broncos lose to one of the Commanders, Raiders, Jaguars,
where's that
Chargers, or maybe Packers at home.
Game could mean a lot for Green Bay.
That is a tough road. Get your the price is way out of whack, but I'd say get your Kansas City divisional tickets now.
What is Kansas City right now to win that division? We're almost out of time.
2-1.
Yeah. Plus 155. Broncos plus 130. All right, from the NFL to Major League Baseball. I can't quit this guy. I wish I could, but I can't. David Aardsma, former big league reliever and closer, our SportsWrap MLB analyst, hangs out with us. It's not an official title, 'cause it's not like we're paying you, but you're kind of our guy.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I like
absolutely.
being your guy.
Yeah, I appreciate you being willing to be so. So I got a bunch of baseball stuff. I wasn't planning to have you on, but there's a whole litany of things that I want to run through with you as we go through awards season, obviously, and that's been a big topic of conversation this week. Not that anything's really been shocking there, in terms of who's won these awards. I was a little surprised that the Aaron Judge thing, and we'll get the official vote on Thursday. I am kind of curious to see, because it seems like it must have leaked out that Judge was going to win, because all the betting markets shifted wildly a couple of days ago. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But aside from that, and I want to talk about, especially from the pitching standpoint, which is where you come from, Paul Skeens winning the Cy Young Award, Tariq Skubal winning the Cy Young Award. Both of those guys deservedly so. And Skubal, it feels like he could just win it every year as long as he stays healthy. I mean, he's that kind of special. But more so about the future of both of these guys now, David, because it feels like the writing's on the wall that neither is going to wind up staying with the organization that brought them into the league. And from a couple of different perspectives, I want to know what you think. One, from the Major League Baseball angle, that they can't figure out a way, and I don't know what the change is to the system that has to take place. You know, like in the NBA, they started doing these things where if you stay with the team that gets drafted, you know, you can get a better deal, you can get more money, you know, things that they did with the salary cap to make that happen. How does baseball avoid what seems like this impending doom for both Pirates fans and Tiger fans when it comes to keeping their Cy Young Award-winning young arms in the organization?
Well, they get them for 6 years. They get it's 6 of their best seasons. I don't like when players are the generational player for a team and they leave. I don't like it. At the same point, take a chance and sign these guys. You saw Paul Skeens in the minors. We all saw it. Like at first injured and battling a little bit that very first drafted year. And then the next year, absolutely dominant. Sign the dude to a 10-year contract when he's in the minors. Spend some money. They took a financial risk in this and they're losing. That's what it is. They took the financial risk of saying, we'll play out 6 years, we'll see what we can do in the trade, and we'll see where this ends up. And they took a chance that he wasn't going to be this great, is what really just what they did. They chose that he wasn't going to win a Rookie of the Year and a Cy Young.
But doing that with a hitter, we see a lot of these guys as rookies who come up who are getting these more team favorable contracts, yes. But you give the security to the player. We saw it with Jose Ramirez. The Red Sox did it with what? Marcelo Mayer. I think it was Mayer they did it with.
I mean, the Braves did it with a bunch of guys.
Right. So we're seeing teams do it. It's and no knock on pitchers. It's easier to do that with position players than it is a pitcher because you're talking guaranteed money, and that guy could blow his arm out. Or wind up with 2 Tommy Johns by the time he's 27 years old. Isn't it more problematic? And again, that gets into the idea of, is it the system that's broken? And we have to I
don't think it's a system. I think it's teams. I think it's individual teams that choose. We're talking about Tariq Skubal maybe not being a Detroit Tiger. The Detroit Tigers for a while, for a good period of time, was the team you went to if you wanted a good contract. If you wanted to make money, that was the team you went to. That was the team that would put money on the table and say, all right, we're building a team. We have a great team. We want to win World Series titles. And they put teams out there with huge contracts. And they won a lot of ball games. And that stadium was absolutely filled.
Yeah.
And that team, minus a collapse in the second half, was the best team in baseball. For half the year with the back-to-back Cy Young winner. So there's no reason they shouldn't have done that last year or even midway through last year or midway through this year, put the money on the table and say, stay here and be a Tiger for life. They had the funds in the past. They had the funds in the future. I look at it as saying these are teams that have taken chances and saying, okay, we will take them, but we're not going to put the money into them. And we'll see what we have at the end. I've always had this idea. You invest into hitters and player development hitters, and then you bring in major league players, major league pitchers at the end. You sign major league pitchers. And that's why you can look at this. We're talking about Paul Skeens being on the trade market or being a possible free agent. Tariq Skubal, trade market, possible free agent. You can find the 2 greatest pitchers that we have had in years and years and years. And they're just available falling on your lap. We can keep getting mad at the Dodgers for signing those guys or get mad at the Pittsburgh Pirates for not seeing the future that we all saw.
Which is more likely to stay with their current team, David, in your mind?
Skubal. Tariq Skubal. Skeens, it's too hot, too early. Everybody knows it. We can talk about the rumors of him wanting to be a Yankee. I never believe that stuff because, what player is going to sit there and like, oh yeah, but my teammate's talking about being a Yankee. When it's an unnamed source, I really hardly ever believe it. But Skeens is gone. It's gone. If you didn't get the contract already, they can't afford him moving forward. And they can't afford them. They won't do it.
In the last minute of this segment, though, do those conversations happen in locker rooms? Is it so far-fetched to believe that Skeens wouldn't say that to somebody? Like, you've been in locker rooms. Have you heard guys talking about, man, I would love to play for that team?
All the time.
Okay, so then why is it so far-fetched that Skeens would do that?
It's the far-fetched that another player would come out and say, oh, yeah, Skeens talked about it. That's the hard part, is that another player would say, oh, yeah, my teammate was talking about being a Yankee, not thinking that wouldn't be major league news. We all know that. We all talk about, we all BS. We know who's good. We know what organizations put money into players, and we all go, dude, would you want to be a Yankee? We are on the last place team like, oh, yeah, I want to be a Yankee. Do you want to be a Rocky? No, but if the Rockies are in first place, dude, I want to be a Rocky. If they're putting the money up and doing it, like everybody in baseball wants to be a Dodger right now. Every single player will be a Dodger at this moment. So don't hate them for wanting to be on a good team that puts in money for players. Like, we all want it. If the Pirates were doing it better, the Pirates, when I played, the Pirates were good going to the playoffs. We all wanted to be a Pirate.
And the Pirates are not putting any money. And that's what I think frustrates fans the most. It's not the fact that you suck.
Nothing.
It's the fact that you're not putting money into the team.
Like
that's
zero.
what's infuriating the fan base is Ben Cherington, put some money into this team in the offseason. Our friends watching on Sportsnet Pittsburgh, we're pleading with you. Put the money into the team. Build around this arm.
To spend it.
Yeah.
Give him the paycheck. Give him the paybook. Let him do it.
More with David Aardsma next. Another segment with our friend David Aardsma, the former big league reliever, closer, our unofficial SportsWrap MLB analyst. We gave him that title. It's on his LinkedIn page.
The director of baseball analysis.
There you go. I like it. Doing pitching lessons. Are you okay? Did you have to throw a lot today or what?
No, didn't have to throw it all. There was a weightlifting session today.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yes.
So it's not just throwing. You're actually doing like comprehensive training.
100%.
Oh, interesting.
Top Velocity Pro.
Yes, there you go. Say it again.
Top Velocity Pro.
For the people in the back of the room who didn't hear it. Let's talk about the gambling controversy now that's hit baseball. The Manuel Clase, Luis Ortiz, both being suspended, probably never see the light of day in terms of baseball again. And you're talking about guys who are, somebody put out the math the other day on like how much money Clase was lined up to make. And he's making, he's getting kickbacks of like $5,000 to throw a stray pitch here and there. Not even something that's necessarily altering the game. I know it's talk about penny wise and pound foolish. I mean, this is the epitome of that, David, but it's so easy to manipulate a bet like this that to me, my screaming from the top of the mountain was just eliminate those sorts of prop bets. Now, I think baseball did the next best thing it could do with the gambling companies and said, all right, you can't wager more than $200 on this. You can't include it in a parlay. Is that satisfactory to you?
I don't even like that. I don't like it. I think when you have a Class A, especially, we talk about Ortiz, but it's Emmanuel Clase is the guy. Like, that's who we want. That's who Major League Baseball players are talking about. It's Clase. Because he was Hall of Fame. He was going, if he just kept pitching, he was going to the Hall of Fame. So that one blows my mind because he was still setting up he had good paydays. He was setting up for massive paydays. Massive paydays. And World Series contending teams that would have been all over him. So like he not only lost money, he lost a lot of money. But we've set up a program like when you hear about a Class A and Ortiz like get caught and these are the punishments, that's what stops players immediately. I guarantee you every single player is stopping it, not because of $200 or anything like that, because of what the real punishment is for these players. Now we have on the back end the way to set up to understand if the gambling starts popping funny, and that's how these guys got caught in the first place, right? You're catching odd bets on odd pitches and stuff like that. I think the system itself was actually working. I think it was working. This is what happens. You have to get a guy caught, and then you go, guys, the system's working. Like you can't get around this. So I had a problem with I had a problem with the bets in the first place, but then once you have them, the system's working. I just think they're effing idiots for doing this, but it's a matter of like when you give a little kid a lollipop or $100, they're going to take the lollipop. They're going to have the, if you give them $7,000 cash in their locker, that seems like a lot more money than $10,000, $1 million in a paycheck that you never see. It goes right to your bank account. It's just the money in this. Plus you're getting your family rich and you're getting all these other people rich around you. So it's like everybody's winning and all I have to do is throw a ball. But we have a system now that catches it. I don't think there needs to be anything else. The $200 is fine. Who's betting more than $200 on a pitch anyway? You're an idiot.
I don't want to say speaking of idiots because that would be a terrible way to segue into this. But John Smoltz made news recently talking about the idea of a split season. He just hates the Yankees, so I can't like Smoltz. And he's so bitter about the World Series losses to the Yankees. You know what? Then just do better. Mark Wohlers, don't hang a slider to Jim Leyritz. Anyway,
yes.
Talk to me about the idea of a split season because they've been doing it in the minors forever. And I like it because I think guys are going to, I think it keeps teams from tanking. I think it keeps teams from selling off. If there's a second half of the season, if we're fundamentally changing baseball already with, the ghost runner and pitch clocks and you can only throw over so many times. If we're fundamentally changing baseball and making it interesting all year round, why not?
Well, you have to have some major incentives for teams that win both halves. Something that's a super incentive, like super incentive. 2, give me 2 trade deadlines. I need 2 trade deadlines. You can't if you're going to have a first half, you got to have a first half trade deadline. Second half trade deadline. right? So you can tank, but if you're tanking, that's going to hurt your second half chances, and my thing is what you're going to end up seeing is if the split season is you're going to see teams winning both more often. You're going to see teams, the good teams are going to win both. I'm sorry, like Detroit was the best first half team I'd seen in baseball, but by the time they got to the second half, you didn't want them in the playoffs. They're a different team. It doesn't matter. Like still, the time factor still plays in this. You don't have the playoffs after the first half. You have the playoffs after the second half. So it really doesn't matter what you do in the first half. Win the second half and be hot. And that's what we've always seen in baseball. You win whoever's the hottest at the end tends to play the best in the playoffs. And so you're not going to see a whole lot different. Like how all of a sudden the Yankees are going to turn it on because they won the first half, and then they're going to win the playoffs. They were the same team. They were the same team when they entered the playoffs, and they still entered the playoffs. How many times have we ever seen a team be a great team in the first half and not make the playoffs? Very rarely. They still make the play. 95% of the time, they still make the playoffs.
Yeah, make the playoffs, yes.
And then they suck because they were just a bad second half team. Winning the first half and winning the second half. The thing about the minors, the thing that's good about the minors is you never know who's going to be on your team. So you can win the first half, but your whole team, the second half could be totally different. And so it kind of gives a really neat little like element to it because you don't know who's on your team one day to the next. Major League Baseball, if you're going to do it, you got to have 2 trade deadlines. But at the end of the day, we're going to see the best team's going to win the World Series regardless. So why change?
Well, the reason I say why change is you're creating interest in markets where there may not be interest in a second half because you're already done.
They would have been there in the first half anyways. But if the team sucks in the second half, they're not going to be showing up. They're still not coming to the ball game if the second half they have a losing record.
We got to go. David, always appreciate it, my friend. All right, we keep things moving. Coming up in 10 minutes, it's Odds and Ends with a preview of Thursday Night Football. Where should you put your money? Just put it the opposite of where I put mine, and you got a shot to win. Because that's the way it's been going for me lately. But in the meantime, let's talk some basketball. There were some crazy performances on Wednesday night in both college basketball and the NBA. On the college side, it was the women doing some amazing things. And we'll begin there, Sam Yarnell, with Hannah Hidalgo, the junior at Notre Dame, who had 44 points, which is a school record, which is amazing unto itself. That isn't the craziest part. She had 16 steals in the game. And she almost had a triple-double. I think she had 9 rebounds as well. But Hannah Hidalgo, Sam Yarnell, with a monster effort against Akron as Notre Dame improves to 3-0. They are 16th, I believe, in the top 25 rankings right now for women's college basketball. Always a threat is Notre Dame, but I was stunned. I kept trying to figure out how the hell you have 16 steals in a game. By the way, I think Akron turned it over 34 times in that game. And I watched the highlights because I'm like, are they just handing her the basketball? Like, how is she getting all these steals, Sam?
Yeah, so it's been a tough start to the season for the Lady Zips of Akron and the MAC. They're averaging 26 turnovers a game.
Wow.
This is a season where they've played 3 games. They've all been losses. They've lost to South Alabama, Robert Morris, and now Notre Dame.
Wow.
Hopefully on Sunday, the ladies can get one back against Cleveland State. Catch that on ESPN Plus if you're so inclined for Akron women's basketball. But yeah, absolutely stellar performance from Hannah Hidalgo. I mean, it's so funny, this Notre Dame program, right? It's like you can go so far. You can go all the way back to like the Skylar Diggins, now Skylar Diggins Smith days. But all this program does is produce so much WNBA talent at the guard position. It is crazy. And Hannah Hidalgo, South Jersey's own, seems to be yet the latest example of that.
Yeah, they're gonna be lining up to get her. Then there is Audie Crooks, who look, she is a physical phenom. If you watch her on the court, I don't know how you defend her because she's just so. And this is not. Before anybody goes crazy, I'm not fat shaming anybody. I've dealt with weight issues my whole life. She's just a large individual. And when she gets down into the paint and camps out, I don't know how you stop her. She doesn't even leave her feet for anything she does on the basketball court, Sam. She does not leave her feet. She is completely planted in the ground, and you can't stop her. She had 43 last night for Iowa State in a win over Valparaiso. Audie Crooks, if we narrow it down to the women, I believe she was 18 of 21 from the field. Look at this free throw, Jay, right there. If we're talking about the more impressive effort, Audie Crooks or Hannah Hidalgo, where are you going?
I mean, Audie Crooks was so efficient. 43 points on 23 shots.
Yeah, was it 18 of 23?
Ridiculous. Okay. I dove into the Akron Zips women's basketball program. Let's see how Valpo's done this year. Oh, no.
They're not much
better.
better.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, Hannah Hidalgo may have the most. So Valparaiso this season lost 92-54 to DePaul.
Yep.
Followed that up with a 78-48 loss at Detroit Mercy. And then lost 97-50 to Iowa State.
No mercy from Detroit Mercy. Is that what we're saying? No mercy. No mercy from Detroit Mercy. Let's go to the NBA, where last night, I didn't think this is possible. That San Antonio could have two players with triple doubles and lose is just mind-blowing to me. But that's what happened last night when the Warriors went into San Antonio and beat the Spurs 125-120 behind 46 from Stephen Curry. Splash! And despite a triple-double from Wemby, where he just continues to do amazing things this season, Stephon Castle just keeps getting better. We're all wondering how he's going to work out with De'Aaron Fox being there now. Well, he had a triple-double last night, and still the Warriors found a way to win this game, Sam.
Yeah, and De'Aaron Fox still went for 13, 5, and 5. I tell you, man, Steve Kerr and the third quarter. They are going to write books about Steve Kerr and the third quarter. I know that they came back in this game in the second quarter after being down in the first, but all this team has ever done under Steve Kerr's tenure is make halftime adjustments and kick ass in the third quarter. That's all they do.
It's very true. Congratulations to the Warriors on a great win. The Nuggets, not to be forgotten in the West because of all the talk about Oklahoma City, and they clubbed baby seals in the Lakers last night in the late game over on ESPN. Denver wins again. The Clippers, by the way, are a train wreck right now at 3-8. We'll talk about that another time. But Denver at 9-2, and Nikola Jokic ties the season high for points in a game with 55, and he did it in regulation, unlike Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Jokic, 55 points on 18 of 23 shooting, 14 of 16 from the line, 5 of 6 from 3, 12 rebounds, 6 assists. I mean, what more is there to say about the Joker and what he continues to do, Sam? We just continue to forget about him in this time of discussing who the next face of the league is and all this stuff. Oh, Nikola Jokic says, I had 55 last night.
Yeah, I had 55 last night, right? On the second night of a back-to-back coming off of a night where I had 35, 15, and 7. Right? It's ridiculous. It's absolutely unfair what this guy can do.
He had 50 after 3, by the way.
The dominance of that guy, I don't know if we'll ever see it again in the NBA.
In the last 10 seconds, which was the best of all of them last night?
Jokic, second night of a back-to-back.
I'll go Hidalgo because of the 16 steals. 44 and 16 steals. You never see a line like that again anywhere. We're coming back with odds and ends. Preview the Thursday night game with the Jets and Patriots. Welcome back. Just about time to put the wraps on this baby for a Thursday. Before we do, some reminders. Friday's show jam-packed here on SportsWrap. Nick Ferguson, former NFL safety with the Denver Broncos, based in Denver. Talk to him about those Broncos and all things football. Robert Littell, the founder of Black Sports Online, joins us every week on the show. And Dom Amore, who covers the UConn Huskies men's basketball program, has a great new book out that he did with Jim Calhoun talking about his career. We'll also get into it on the Huskies, who have a huge stretch coming up with a bunch of top 25 matchups for them before they get into the conference schedule. If you have not done so yet, make sure to subscribe to the Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast. It's available on all your favorite podcasting platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Odyssey, Amazon. Anywhere you get a podcast, you can listen to this show while you drive to work, while you're in the train, while you're on a plane, in the car, shower, wherever. You can check out the show on the podcast edition. 45 minutes, Monday through Friday. Make sure to go and get it. Also, the Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. We've put a lot of work into this. It has the show up there, commercial-free, Monday through Friday. Pro tip, it's usually available there before it's available anywhere else, even on television, with over 270 affiliates. Also, we have the Sports Wrap with Jason Page Sports Wrap Shorts. If you have not checked these out, when news breaks, we jump on and we break it down 60 seconds or less. It fits into your day. If something's going on in sports, you want to go over to the YouTube channel because we've got it covered with Sports Wrap Shorts. They're also available on TikTok, Sports Wrap Jason Page, and on Instagram, Sports Wrap Jason Page. Go and subscribe to those as well. And without any further delay on this Thursday edition of the show, Sam Yarnell, time for some odds and ends. Odds and ends, Sam Yarnell. We've got a Thursday night NFL game, sir. It is the Patriots, a divisional showdown. Al Michaels must be salivating to call this one. The Patriots and the Jets tonight from Foxborough. The 2-7 New York Jets going up against this Patriots team that just can't seem to lose right now. You know, I'm looking at the line on this game, and it's the Jets plus 12.5, Sam. And my takeaway from that is, if you go and look at the Jets this year, there's only 2 games where they've gotten beaten that bad. Just saying. The Bills in week 2. And the Cowboys 37-22 in the 5th game of the season. So for that reason, and I know some people are going to kind of scoff when I say this, no Ramondre Stevenson, I'll actually take the Jets plus the 12.5 tonight. Not saying they're going to win the game, nothing crazy like that, but there's a lot of ways they could cover 12.5, the backdoor cover, the late garbage touchdown, in this game. I'll go with the Jets plus 12.5 tonight, Sam.
I am 100% with you in lockstep. I am also playing the Jets on the money line for a myriad of reasons. There are 3 teams, to your point, you made me think of something about the Jets not losing games by this many points. The Patriots don't win games by this many points. There are 3 games this season that they've won by this many points. Here, let me tell you who they were against. The Tennessee Titans and Cam Ward, and that was Cam Ward's 5th start in the National Football League. The Cleveland Browns and Dylan Gabriel. And then the last one, let me just double check it here. Oh, yeah, the Carolina Panthers, who we just got done talking about how we're selling this season. Yeah, I'm going to take the Jets tonight. Don't care if it burns me. The fact of the matter is they've been playing better football for the last 3 weeks. They've won 2 in a row, and now they find themselves as 12.5-point underdogs. And that's a number that's climbing towards the Patriots. It opened 11.5. So I'm going to buy the Jets. I'm going to fade the sharps and the rectangles and every polygon that you can think of out in Vegas. Give me the Jets. Give me them on the money line. I am, again, said it all week, not buying into the Patriots. There have been 2 teams in DVOA history since they started tracking it in 2010 or 13 or something. There have been 2 teams that have gotten to 8 wins while having through 10 weeks of the season while having a negative DVOA. It's these Patriots. And it's the 2022 Minnesota Vikings, the team that famously, Jason, lost to your Giants and Daniel Jones in, Brian Daboll's first year as a head coach. So I'm not buying the Patriots. Give me the Jets, spread, and money line tonight.
To the non-experts, to the people that view things in the macro, explain DVOA.
It's defensive value over average. It's an analytic. It's one of these nerd stats that we use to kind of compare how defenses perform, not based on who your opponent is, but based on who the league average opponent would be. So that is to say the Patriots would be the 2nd worst defense against a league average offense.
Here's the amazing thing. We talk about why aren't the Patriots getting more love? Why are we sort of underestimating them? A lot of people will say, well, the books, they're underestimating them too. You got to go into the show more category to find the Patriots when we talk about the Super Bowl odds right now. They are 20-1. The Kansas City Chiefs, who wouldn't even be in the playoffs today if they started, have the best odds at 6-1. The New England Patriots are the 11th best odds to win the Super Bowl this year, Sam. They are 20-1. Let me run through some of the teams.
They'd be the 1 seed if it ended right now.
It's nuts. That's why I'm saying there's been no year like this before. The teams ahead of them: Denver, Baltimore, Green Bay, Indianapolis, Buffalo, Seattle, Detroit, Los Angeles, the Rams, the Eagles, and the Chiefs. No love for the Patriots in Vegas. It's a good value, though. 20-1. Might have to go and do something with that before I leave town. We got to go. Thanks to David Aardsma. Thanks to you, Sam. We'll see you all back here tomorrow for Friday Sports Wrap.